That song goes on for too long. Hello. Sorry, bit late. Hello. And welcome to week 10. 10 of us asking ourselves the question, why didn't we do Final Fantasy IX instead? Hello. How are we doing? Are we alright? How are we on this apparently Tuesday evening? / Wednesday morning, depending on your time zone. Yeah. We're here to recount the story of Final Fantasy VIII. Why didn't you do FF9? I thought the insanity of this game would be more entertaining for some reason. Because FF9's story only really gets nuts in the last quarter. It's just up until that point, it's just a solid story. But, you know, that's no fun, is it? It's no fun just to have a good story. I don't know. Something about numerical order, probably. You're great. Only rubbing a lamp could make it any better. Well, if you're already great, I guess there's no need to. No need to improve matters. So yeah. Welcome. Shall we have a quick recap of what happened last time? So last time, let me pop over. Gonna have to replace the lamp. There it is. Last time, some things happened. So we that's too far ahead. Got this. Okay, so last time we got out of prison, and we discovered that the sorceress TM has taken over the Galbadian forces. You could achieve excellence. Oh, well, there's only 2 of you in chat at the moment, so this might be your best shot. So she has taken over the Galbadian forces, and as such she has also taken over the Space Pancake, or the Galbadian Garden, as it's also known. And in retaliation for the assassination attempt, she has declared war, basically, on the other gardens. So she's started firing ballistic missiles at them. We get out of prison and we see a barrage of ballistic missiles flying through the air. We're not sure whether they're going towards the Space Potato, where we come from, or the Space Cheese, where Jenny comes from. She was an exchange student, I guess. She moved gardens. So Jenny wants to go to the missile range in order to stop more missiles, and we want to go back to the Space Potato to make sure we can evacuate, if indeed that is the place that was not just hit by missiles. So that happens. We split up. We do a whole load of shenanigans in a missile base, causing them to... We don't stop the missiles being fired. Well, I say by we, I mean Jenny, Velma, and Cheery, and also Jive, of course. So they get stuck in the missile base with the self-destruct on, because the way is blocked by a big old thing. Actually, did I just modify this one, did I? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's a big old tank, and that's stopping us getting out. But they do manage to mess around with the guidance systems of the missiles so that they're less accurate. So fingers crossed. Anyway, they get to the Space Potato in order to try and evacuate everyone. Turns out it's not been destroyed, so it must have been the Space Cheese that was. Poor Jenny. But now is the time to try and evacuate everybody and make them take this seriously. Unfortunately, we've entered into a civil war between Headmaster Fly and somebody called the Garden Master Norg. Literally, people are fighting each other in the halls. They're running around like lunatics, and nobody's going to believe you that missiles are on the way, because there's a territory war going on, basically. After much running around and not doing an awful lot, you eventually find Headmaster Fly hiding out in the least obvious place he possibly could hide out, i.e. his office. And he tells you, oh dear, that's a bit of a shame about the whole missile situation, but we did build this Space Potato on top of an existing building, and that building has been here for millennia, yonks, absolutely ages, and there was like lots of weird technology in it. So maybe if you go down there, there might be like a shield or something that you can activate. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go down into the bowels of the potato and try and find some way of protecting the Space Potato from incoming missiles. Hello, Chib, how you doing? That's the recap complete. Things are only going to get weirder and blobbier from here on. Right, so And also, when I say we, this team consists of Simon, Pikachu, and Jesse McCree. You're right. You're late because you had to eat some cake. That is one of the best reasons to be late. Just had to rub the lamp because you were left alone. The lamp is always there. You win by default. We didn't actually hold a vote. That's the problem. You asked the question, but since there was no answer, that is not the end of the statement. It's your birthday. Hap Borth. I hope today will bring you many surprises. Because I think I mentioned last time that from here on out things get weird. Weirder, probably. We are already in a space potato, but it'll get weirder. So. Right. So I guess this is like a little dungeon area, and there's a lot of busy work that happens, but I'll just get to the sort of basic gist of things. So you all get in the lift, because there's a lift in the middle of your school, as you do. I think would you say that things are going to get a whole lot of weird? If only. If only. So yeah, there's a big old lift, and you get in it. It's actually not that big, it's quite small. Or as they probably call it in the American localization, an elevator. Obviously circular because it's futuristic technology. There's a little rack of buttons. And why there's a rack of buttons, there's, I think, 5 floors you can go to. Oh, I should specify that you were given a special key that you can put into this so that you can get to the secret, one of the secret basement levels. And here is presumably where you put the key. You find the argument over the lamp funny? It's the best reason to have it. The lamp itself isn't particularly useful. It's just having the argument. That's all we need. The tradition. But it has Simon's best friend in it. Honestly, you checked and it is. Well, given Simon's disposition, that means that nothing's in it. Let's draw the happy friend. You know what it does? You just think dragging it out is funny. It's part of the goof. Belts. There's lanky boy. I remember he's wearing relatively sensible shoes. That's the best you're getting at the moment. Unfortunately, this isn't the first thing I've drawn today. I'd love to claim it was, but it's not. It doesn't need friends. Literally something Simon says over the course of the game. More elevator test tubes? I don't know what you're talking about. This is just an elevator. It's fine. I do still have a sticker on the bottom of my monitor that says elevator. You've got to have these things, you know. Got the Black Void book because it's so pretty. Lovely. That is a justifiable reason to get a good book. I buy art books. That's all they do. And by I buy, I mean I can't afford to buy anymore. But I used to. It's a mess. Hello. This song is called Dance with the Balam Fish. I don't know why it's called Dance with the Balam Fish, but it is called Dance with the Balam Fish. Dance with the Balam Fish. Whereas Balam is Nith. Balam is where the space potato is. Well, Balam is a small town near the space potato. The space potato's proper name is the Balam Garden. And there is a fish that lives underground near Balam called the Fastatokalon. Sorry, there's two. There's the Fastatokalon F and the Fastatokalon M. I presume they're female and male. They live in sand. Bless you. I always remember the name because it's like, why is it called the Fastatokalon? Is there any particular? I've never looked up. Why? Can somebody look up for me? Why is it called the Fastatokalon? Is there a reason for it being called the Fastatokalon? I like how I said this story is going to get really weird and now we're just standing in a lift. Then again, if you've seen Devil... we learned the name of the Dance of the Blandfish. Balam. Fastitokel. Fastito. The fact that I can spell it is embarrassing. Oh. Fastatokalon is a poem by J.R.R. Tolkien about a gigantic sea turtle. There you go. By etymology, the name Fastatokalon is a corruption of the ancient Greek round-shielded turtle. It's not a turtle, though, it's a fish. The title of the monster... it tells of how Fastatokalon's huge size, a whale island, enticed sailors to land on its back, and yeah. And then it dived underground. Okay, so it's a thing that is like ground, if it's swimming thing. I don't think they really understood the story. You know, pronunciation pain. It's the Fastatokalon. I like the idea that the sleeves are slightly too long. Anyway, so they're in this lift. And then predictably, and by predictably I mean for absolutely no reason, power goes off. And they're stuck in the lift. Oh no! So, what do you do when you're stuck in a lift and the power's off? Well, you find a hatch in the floor and you climb out of it. And what you do is you climb out into... Might as well keep this on, quite dark in the rest of this place. Into a big old shaft. There's a straight line. Big old shaft with a ladder on it. And it turns out that shaft's got sort of big old sort of platforms. This is all under your school and nobody's been down here since it's been built. Just want to point that out. And there's like sort of broken platforms leading out. This all comes into this massive room. Put a ladder here. Here's you. And after doing a few bits and pieces, pulling some levers and turning some valves and things like that, which no one particularly cares about. You've worked in some old school buildings, that isn't necessarily unreasonable. Hang on. You eventually work your way down. There's also like a little control room here, which you eventually get into by... I want the scale. Bring it forward. This is where the gantry was supposed to go, let's say. But you get here by your ladder sort of falling off, and then you jump off onto that. Anyway, you eventually work your way down to the bottom. Or as near to the bottom as you can get. Because the bottom also happens to be full of oil. This is just... bubbling oil. There's also a little gantry-way going along here. Which I've just realised makes no geographical sense, but we'll get to that. That leads to a little door. And this place is all... everything's made of metal and it's all rusted. It's old machinery. But nonetheless surprising to find under a potato. Yeah, so you eventually work your way all the way down here. And you pull this lever and it opens this door. And then you walk along this thing. And then some things jump out of the oil. And that's your next boss, who I will now draw. There are two of them. And I don't know how to draw them. I've drawn them once before, we did a Fool's AU. So here's my best attempt. There was boiling oil underneath the school the whole time. Bubbling oil, not necessarily boiling. Not entirely sure what's going on with the Let's make it real lumpy. That's a fried potato! Well, it's been in oil for long enough. I guess that makes sense. These, for there are two. Imagine they're sort of brushy, sort of, what's the word? Cilia? Is it cilia? The little hairs in your guts. They're a bit like that. Little... Either that or they're sort of sentient versions of those, two scissor mops that you used to get in schools. The janitors used to push along. Cilia what? Cilia. C-I-L-I-A. Or double L? No, single L. Cilia? Cilia! Cilia are attached to the cell, and the basal body is made up of microtubes. Microtubules! That's a word. Microtubules. Anyway, these are called oil boils. Say hello to the oil boil. They're saying hello to you. Oily boily boys! They're boiling and oiling. Living their best boily oily life. There we go, there's the oily boily boys. They just sort of hop out and attack you for no particular reason. They needed a boss at this point, I guess. Can you see what I mean about... I don't think any of the departments that were making this game talk to one another. Like, okay, we're making this story about military students, you know, trying to assassinate a sorceress who has amassed political power. We need a boss. Alright, this. Rosie, turn off the stream. Ah, we rubbed the lamp while you were gone. You missed it. The oily boily boys and the oily boily basement had some fun, but then some adventurers came and the oily boily boys went down. Poor oily boily boys. You better not have... No, the lamp's still here, don't worry. Funnily enough, it's an oil lamp. It really is a gamble as to whether or not your picture shows up there. Twitch's API is weird. So yeah, oily boily boys. You fight the oily boily boys, right? And then you win. Yeah. Then you come to a thing. That's the best way I can describe it. A thing. It's like a big old control panel.
Oily boily boys.
Oily boily boys. I think they were friends in our Fools AU. I think they were healers or something. The oily boily boys. The thing with lots of buttons and stuff. So yeah, we come to this room, which leads to an absolutely massive room. There's like a big old metal circle thing. It looked like a tennis ball to me, so I'm going to make it a tennis ball. I don't think I'm doing quite a good job of indicating how massive all this stuff is. There you go, there's some doors. Yeah, and you're on this sort of gantry overlooking it all. And you get here. And you think, well, this must be a mechanism for activating the whatever it is. Oh, that's it. This used to be called a shelter. Yes. That's the only thing you know about this place, is that it was a shelter. Which is why you think there would be a shield. I've just remembered that's a word that is used. So you have to try and activate this shelter. How would you go about trying to activate this technology? Well, if you're the teenagers, you would just sort of hit random buttons and see what happens. Ooh, that's not a hand. Smashy, smashy. See what happens. You just checked, and if you think the oily boily boys who they think you are, they do black magic. Okay, that makes sense. What was the picture I did for the oily boily boys? Do I have that anywhere? Oh, there's the oily boily boys. Oh, I forgot they had little vestigial wings. There's the oily boily boys. Yeah. Yeah. In your notes in the Fool's AU, they are referred to as Blob Friend. That works too. These are all good names. Yeah, so you start smashing buttons and just sort of see what happens. Eventually, you succeed in making some electricity happen, and this thing here spins for a bit. And then, the platform you're on flies through the ceiling. Fortunately, a hole appears in the ceiling for reasons I don't particularly understand. And it ends up going all the way through the garden right up to the top somewhere in funnily enough, in Headmaster Fly's office. Isn't that convenient? Then, quick vote. I have prepared a slide. Yes, I know. This is the Space Potato. Those of you who do not know this game, I would like you to hazard a guess as to what happens next. We have activated some sort of old machinery in this place referred to as the shelter. What do you think happens now? It grows legs, that is a good guess. You remember this bit? I'm sure you do. Shelter was there before the Space Potato? Why would it go into the office? You're asking too many questions. The game designers did not have time for these questions. Turns itself upside down? Also a good idea? Well, time's up. If you guessed that what it does is sort of lifts itself up out of the ground and then just sort of flies away, then you would be right. Congratulations. We've found our airship. Also, some missiles turn up and everything goes boom. So we successfully avoided the missiles. Also, the missiles have angry faces on them. I don't know why. They're sort of painted on for no particular reason. So yeah, there you go. We now have a flying space potato. It's a bit like that. And this thing at the bottom, this sort of spins around. Can't really illustrate that in this particular thing. Yeah, so we have our flying space potato. It's the least aerodynamic ship you've ever seen. It looks a bit more like a ship in the actual thing, but again, it doesn't really make sense. Shelter was there before the space potato. Yes. Funnily enough, the bottom of this looks exactly like the top. So, I guess they built around the stuff underground to fit the styling of this. The thing they built on top. Unless the shelter was just a ring or something, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, there's a couple of issues with this plan. Hooray, we didn't blow up. Yippee-dee-doo. Hooroo, and this links to our conversation we were having slightly before. We're just sort of heading forwards like that. Only a couple, yes, a couple. And over here is a small seaside village called Balam, made of little round houses and things. There's a train station. There's trains coming out of it. It doesn't look like much, but it's Balam. There's a hotel in there as well. Yeah, and we don't know how to control this. We're just sort of, Balam's gonna go blam. So we're just sort of careening for the nearest village. It just so happens to be heading in that direction. That's, full 360 degrees. It happened to home in on that particular way, which I would also like to point out is not the way that the space potato was originally facing. So somehow it turned in this process. Blam's gonna go blam. Yeah. Fortunately, some more button mashing. Literally slamming on the controls. Thanks, Sai. Pity you have no emotional attachment to this town. Would it help if I said that Pikachu's mum is in there? I think he also said, is there brothers and sisters? There are kids in that house. So. She can run. She probably can, actually. I don't know. It's not like you can't see this coming. Granted, you're not particularly expecting to see it coming. But, also, a house is underground. You have to go down to get in. So, might be fine. Just evacuate the town. The building is moving pretty quickly at this point. Now what's the problem? They'll be fine. They'll be alright. Just realised this looks reminiscent of the proud Clod from Final Fantasy VII. Just give it big arms. When I count of how many problems in this game can be solved if people just evacuated. Hold that thought. So, yeah, so enough button mashing, and we eventually, I should point out that Balam is a coastal town. That's pretty good. So we managed to avoid the town by going around it. We don't fly over, we go around, and then we just sort of smash into the sea. Whoops. And we are set adrift. Whoops. Set adrift upon the ocean. It looks like Smog sitting on a boat. Smoog. It does have a little bit of that look about it, doesn't it? Yeah, so you are now set adrift on the ocean, and everything is now peaceful. You know what you've done? This, needs a Donald Duck sailor's hat. One of those. Like, over. Something like that. You don't need to put Ernstone in this Drawthrough. Yeah, probably. They'll crop up. They'll crop up everywhere. We managed to get them into Man of Medan. I'm sure we can get them in here. So, the space Smotato is now adrift. You don't really know how to control it. You don't know how to stop it. You don't know how to do anything. You've just got it moving and not blown up, so that's handy. Ernstone's in every game, it's just the rule. Does that imply that Ernstone and Atlas eventually meet? Because Atlas is also in every game, isn't he? Or are they just destined never to... They're always in the same universe, but they never meet. I got you thinking. So, or, since we only ever see Ernstone with the armor on, you ever seen the two of them in the same room together? Have you? Yeah. So, yeah, you're adrift. You have to go make you guys meet him in Starfinder then. Oh dear. You'll probably make him fit in Starfinder somehow. Cyber Ornstein. I need to Google that. Someone's done that, I'm sure someone's done. Yeah, kinda. Oh, not a terrible job. Couple of lights here and there. Anywho. That was by Cal Santiago at DeviantArt. Always good to credit. Is this the silliest drawing I've done so far for the Drawthrough? Maybe. One of our characters does have a bin on their head. Right. So, as if, it didn't already feel like this is Simon's post-death fever dream. We are eventually called up to the headmaster's office, which is around here. So, just doing some housekeeping. We don't need any particularly special drawings for this. We've already have this. And the only drawing of Simon you ever need. I.e. every single one I've drawn. They're not here. Don't mind that. So you're called up to the headmaster Fly's office. And rather than saying old shielded potato, what he says is... Ooh. Good old Cal. That's sci-fi Solaire. So, yes. What old Headmaster Fly? What do you think old Headmaster Fly says at this point? I want to hear more of your guys' opinions, because where there was once a desk in his office is now a big old thing that leads up to a control panel for however the hell this thing flies. Or floats, I guess it doesn't really fly. To fly implies a control of... things. Oh, well, I wanted to renovate my office anyways. I think he says something along the lines of, well, I better find a new office then. So, kinda close. Any other thoughts as to what he says at this point? Some nice windows out onto the completely flat oceanic horizon. For me, he says your browser encountered an error while decoding the video, error 3000. I've heard that before. Is that a reference? Were we always this close to the ocean? No, we were by some mountain ranges earlier, but, you know, these things happen. There's a little desert island. Palm tree. And his sin in the background. This reminds me of a puzzle. I always wanted to go on a cruise. Have you rubbed that lamp yet? These are all fine guesses. Well, so far none of you have guessed. Well, can we sell the lamp? Wouldn't that be awkward? He comes in and says, you rub that lamp yet? And you rub it in his office. It's like, okay, fine. You said it was going to be dangerous. We have yet... it's been a while since we've been anywhere we can sell anything. I also like how I've drawn this in the background, and so far nobody's commented on it. Give it a few years. That actually kind of works. It's the wrong word, but it's the right pronunciation. So it's having a good time. It's just chilling out. Yeah, no, what he actually says is, oh, you know, I'm clearly not cut out for this job. I'm quite old. I couldn't even quell a civil war. Do you want to be headmaster? Do you want to be in charge of this whole thing? You're in charge now. Give a speech. I'm kind of doing this in slightly the wrong order, but it doesn't matter too much. Anyway. I've forgotten that there's something happens before this, but it functionally doesn't particularly matter. Kind of some really awesome souls out, by the way. Good for them. Yeah. So Simon has to give a very impromptu, awkward speech over the intercom. No, I think he refuses to give a speech. Speech happens later. No, it might. Oh yeah, he over the microphone says, "I don't want to do a speech," and everyone laughs. Without surprise, this is the place to let a 17-year-old be a teacher. This was one of the things that was in the back of my mind when people were saying that. I don't think he's in charge of the school stuff, but he's basically saying, hey, we are now on a moving military ship. We are at war. Do you want to be in charge of that whole operation? But he basically calls us the leader. We are now Simon, for reasons hitherto unfathomable. We are now the leader of this entire operation, and Simon doesn't take it too well. He retires to his. Why? I've told you to stop asking these complicated questions. There's far too much nitty-gritty detail. Nobody's ever going to wonder these questions in playtesting. It's fine. Of course he doesn't take it when he's 12. Yeah. I mean, basically, okay. Let's look at Simon's report card. Okay, so he got too over-enthusiastic in a fight and permanently scarred a fellow student and got into a coma. He was thus late on his coursework and had to do his exam unprepared. He failed to do the mission that he was sent to do on his exam. He was then nonetheless given the pass in the exam, went to go on another mission, failed that, and then went to do another mission to assassinate the sorceress, failed that, came back, hit some buttons with his hand, and then his school flew away. That's what Simon's done so far, and he is now in charge of this operation. It's not Simon's fault. It's definitely Fly's fault. Simon has not a good track record. He's 12! Hello, Pamps. You've missed some stuff. How you doing? How's your Wednesday? He's 12. Well, he was 12 when... Our law is that he was 12 when he went into a coma. Technically 17. I don't know. Clamps, do you know this game? No, you don't know. Do you know this? Oh, I can't remember. Either way, the space potato is flying now. Well, floating. Well, swimming. Kind of. We're floating on the water. In the water. Sort of half submerged. Not good. Don't go out the bottom exit. Hooray for Space Potato! We all know that everything you say about games you know nothing about is absolutely true. Yes. Oh, and Simon is now the leader of the school. So, yeah, that happens. Then, we are given... while we are having our little stupor, we are a little scrop. Because we never wanted to be a leader. We just like following orders. Badly. So, I mean, say that. Didn't really do it particularly well with Cheery, did he? Had a big argument with her and she ran off. So yeah, while we're in bed and we're all we're upset about that, a command comes over the intercom and says, can Simon and Pikachu and Jesse McCree please report to basement level 1? You have been summoned there by the garden master. Technically, this happens before you become leader, but don't worry about it. It's fine. So yeah, so you're all summoned to the garden master. Somebody you have only recently heard of. Very surprised you haven't heard of somebody called the garden master. I should call him the potato master, I guess. It's a more fitting name, given who it is. So here's the lift. That got stuck before. No. Oop. Computer, please. Calm thine breasts. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. So this is the lift shaft. Because do you remember me saying that we got access to one of the secret underground basement levels in the lift? This is the other one. It's all misty for some reason. some steps leading down, and there's like a big old machiney thing here. Hey, it's the Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VIII music. This is also a weird big room, but it's kind of more sci-fi than decrepit. Got like lights and things. I think. There's also smoke, I don't know why. It's just atmospheric. Detective Farmer is in the secret underground, emphasis on secret. It's not secret, that's just you haven't had access before. On an iPad, it's called and it does not fold. Doesn't sound like you've tried hard enough. But I'm glad. I'm glad you have a good thing. Today about something that doesn't fold. Anyway, yeah, so you hop out. I don't know why I'm quite this zoomed out. Probably because that's the scene as seen in the scene. On one hand, doesn't fold yet. On the other hand, please no fold. That's two hands. I can at least commend you on your ability to count. As for the folding and not folding, I'm afraid I do not have the expertise to comment. But know this about me. I will not stop talking about things folding. The scene seen in the scene. I do like how the first thing you do as leader is strop. That's pretty on brand for Simon. This very, very lanky Simon. Anyway, so you pop out. Pikachu and McCree are also here. And who else is here? Yes, that's right. It's the maybe still headmaster, but also maybe not also headmaster Fly. Person who's just sort of hanging around. I don't know. Person in charge of the curriculum. Curriculum Master Fly. Mr. I have questionable judgment Fly. And he just got thrown out, basically. Just one of the cult peoples just chucked him out forcefully. Ah, go away, you. Like that, which is not very nice. One of the worms, one of the wormler bags. Because if you recall, when we got here and the Civil War was happening, because that still hasn't really been resolved, the cult people were on the side of the Garden Master, and some of the students were on the side of Fly, and that's still going on. How defeat? Defeat like that? I think feet like that. Close enough. Yep. Blip, blip. He's the VP of Academic Affairs. Perfectly reasonable title. So, he limps away, muttering things about, I never should have made that deal with never should have trusted the, and so on and so forth. We, however, are ushered to an audience with the garden master. So we're going to draw this from behind, because it's pretty much the camera angle that we're supposed to see this with. I think I've already drawn these characters from behind, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Are you ready for some exposition? Aye, aye, Captain. I think this might be the music that plays when you're in here. And it's just finished. Make them rub the lamp. Well, they've certainly got the appendages for rubbing, that's for sure. So you are summoned before the Garden Master, and from within their weird sci-fi machine, they bellow at you. Like that. I believe the onomatopoeia that's used in the game is boojaroo, but I'm just going to go like that. I can't really remember how this conversation plays out. I think that's it. But like B-U-J-U-R-U-J-U-R-U-J-U. Don't know why I think I remember an onomatopoeia, but there we are. So, yeah, one of the cult people comes up and says, well, basically, we ask, I think perfectly reasonably, who's this? Who are we talking to? Why are we here? And cult friend, who is here and will introduce us, as all good hosts should. And they say, hold your tongue and be respectful in the presence of your betters, for you are in attendance of the garden master, Nog! And we say, who's that? And they say, it's the person who owns the garden, the person who owns the space potato, the person who put up all of the money to build the space potato. I know Fly was the one who had the plan to do the space potato, but Nog was the one who gave the money. So he owns it. So this is the owner of the space potato, and he demands an audience with you. And an audience we shall get, or he shall get, because the pod then opens, like this, and we get to see Nog in all of their glory. All Nog of their glory. So if you thought the oily boily friends, oily boilies, oil boils, oily boys, if you thought they were melty, welcome to Nog, who is also melty. The big old yellow melty custard friend. Can't really remember what he looks like, he's just melty. Buttons? Do you want to work? Yeah, there we go. Oh, my computer is struggling, apparently. It's just Nog is too much. That feels better. Sort of just melty earhead thing. I think his eyes are smaller as well. Hmm. He has big, lumpy finger hands. So this is Nog. Say hello to Nog. Oop. My computer is not responding well to inputs at the moment. Poor thing. It's having a bit of a struggle. You like this Nog better? It's Nog. Throwing money around and buying control of schools. Is Bezos trying buying control of schools? That's scary. You just looked and you think you blocked that image from your mind? What, Bezos? I don't want to. I'm not going to change this drawing, but I do actually want to look up the. Well, yeah, I got the gist of it. Wow, he's melty, isn't he? Oh, it is this Boojaroo. That was close. I prefer Boojaroo, but there we go. Wow, that is a chin, isn't it? Yeah. So, and now a long. What's this? Where did this come from? So now a long conversation with a lot of exposition happens. Here are the details of this conversation and what it entails. Firstly, Nog is indeed the person, the thing that helped put up the money to build the space potato. Bezos is just like a lizard in a man suit, isn't he? I thought that was Zuckerberg. No, Zuckerberg is an android. I lose track of these things. Anywho, so Frame Man is being busy today. I apologise for that. Lost 1%. Lower 1% of our frames have vanished. I think I am going to rejig the settings on this because I am outputting at 720p, but for some reason it's processing at 1080. So I think downing everything to 720 will make things speed up in general. Fingers crossed. Or get a better computer. Ha! That requires money. So, yeah, so he's the person who put that all up and so on and so forth. So he technically owns the space potato. And in our timeline, let's say, he's not too happy with the fact that you have just been announced the leader of this thing. In fact, he has other plans. Firstly, he's not particularly happy about the fact that some of the students coming out of the thing that he owns as an investment opportunity, because obviously he's all about the money, and he wants to get he wants to get as much money as possible out of all the mercenaries that are being pumped out of here. And that is why his cult people were constantly, every time Fly says, "I want you to learn about yourselves and go on an adventure," all of his cult friends would come up and go, "You also have to do your job and get the money and come back and do more jobs. Don't think for yourselves. Be money making things. Thank you very much." We aren't happy about it either. That's true. So we just saved your school. Ah, yes, but we also ruined it because he's not happy about the fact that the biggest society in the world, the Galbadian society, what with having been in a big war with Timber and now basically controls a lot of the places, he's not happy about the fact that they're now trying to attack us, because that's not a good money-making opportunity. The biggest economy in the world is at war with us. We're not going to make any money out of them. So he wants to know, A, why we tried to assassinate the sorceress, and B, what we plan to do to fix it. We say that we attacked the sorceress because we were told to. We went to the Space Pancake and we were given our orders. We said these were orders from the Space Potato that we have to go to Jimson City and assassinate the sorceress. It's at this point that Nog goes, lies. Turns out nobody here gave that order. That was all a bit of a trick. Should have guessed really, because the Space Pancake is the Galbadian garden, so presumably there was some influence there. Either way, we were tricked into trying to assassinate the sorceress. That wasn't actually a mission we were supposed to be given. We just kind of arrived at the right time. The Galbadians were going to try it themselves, because they were a bit wary of this sorceress person taking over. And we just turned up at the garden. We turned up at the Space Pancake, having buggered up in Timber. And they were like, brilliant! 4 guys! We'll stick it on them. So if anything goes wrong, we can't be blamed. Yeah, so Norg isn't happy about that, because now his garden's under attack for reasons beyond his control. So yeah, we've been stitched up, basically. We were stitched up with the assassination attempt. So we say, well, that's not our fault. We remembered the protocols for seed. Remember, we are seed. And in order to get our new orders, we had to go to the nearest space object, which was the space pancake, and get orders from there. If we were misinformed, that's not our fault. Norg then goes, I don't care! Like that. And he says, I have a way to fix this. And we say, that sounds fantastic. What's your way to fix this? And he says, it's easy. Give your heads on a silver platter to the sorceress and she'll calm down. We're not too happy about the idea of us being, summarily executed. We did just break out of prison, so this is not particularly surprising. But given that Norg is ostensibly in charge here, it's a bit worrying that somebody here is also trying to kill us and send us out. We need to get new seeds before we can sow more. Yeah, we will find new seeds, and they will have questionable names. Don't you worry about that. The seed analogy does not stop here. So, Frame man. Literally nothing's happening, calm your face. Frame man. Time to overthrow Norg. Not before one more bombshell. Oh yes, you thought all of the bombshells are coming, all the twists and turns of the politics and so on and so forth. And we say, you can't do that. Headmaster Fly has just told us that we are the leader and we respect his authority. Above yours, because we've literally never heard of you before. Which is also understandable. And he says, you can't trust that man. Honestly, why would you trust a man who was married to the sorceress? So, turns out that Fly and the sorceress are husband and wife. Frame man, please. I know it's surprising, but you calm down. And that seed, did they get a divorce? No. Frame man. Do I have anything open that shouldn't be open? No. Frame man is being annoying. No, but so it turns out that Fly and TM, who are married, set up the gardens, the space potato, the space pancake, space cheese, for undisclosed purposes, a long time ago. It's complicated, TM. Wonderful. So maybe, just maybe, Kyle, back when he was torturing us trying to work out what seed's all about, maybe he had a point. Maybe there is something we don't know. Because it turns out this whole operation is partly funded by the sorceress, but also the sorceress is directly trying to blow up her husband. Did he though? I mean, maybe not him, but someone else. But here's the thing. If the sorceress was trying to get that information out of you by having Kyle torture you, why doesn't she know what this information is if she set the whole thing up? Questions, mysteries. Ooh, this is actually one of the first times the game actually sets up a mystery and you're like, ooh, I wonder why that's true. If Kyle has the best judgment out of anyone in the game, you must really wonder what's up with everyone else. That is a perfectly good benchmark to set. A low bar is a bar nonetheless. So, yes. So, what have we discovered? We've discovered that we were tricked into trying to assassinate the sorceress. That was something that the Galbadians were trying to do themselves, and we just turned up at the right time. Although to be fair, that means Jesse McCree would have done it anyway. He came from the space pancake. We learned that Fly doesn't actually own this place. He's just leasing it, I guess. I guess Norg also owns the Space Pancake and the Space Cheese. Probably unhappy about the fact that one of his 3 investments just got blown up. You're confused about something. Just one? Just one. Feel free to ask a question. There may or may not be an answer. And even if there is, you might not know it yet. And the last thing is that the Fly and the Sorceress were married. That old married couple, I believe he refers to them as. What's the question? What's the question? Questions. You should have many questions at this point. Oh, I guess I don't have to draw this, do I? Anyways, at this point we fight him and kill him. If these military schools are all related through Fly and Norg and all that, and we receive orders from those military schools, how can we be at war with them? We're not. One of the military schools is in Galbadia, and thus it's called the Galbadian Garden, or the Space Pancake. And but that has essentially, and they're essentially independent from the areas around them. But there is the Galbadian military, and I assume the Galbadian Garden is in some way connected to the Galbadian military. Although we are strictly speaking supposed to be freelance mercenary organizations. But my assumption is that they have now been taken over by the Galbadian military. So the Galbadian Garden, which is a freelance organization, was intended to stage, I guess, a coup in order to kill the sorceress of the Galbadian government because they foresaw military problems, basically. So strictly speaking, we did receive orders from somebody in the Galbadian Garden, which makes it not wrong, per se, that we followed those orders, because the gardens are all the same thing. Unless I'm completely misinterpreting this entire story and Norg only made the Balam Garden, the Space Potato, in which case, where did the other 2 come from? I don't know. Maybe there are other big yellow blobs that funded... big custard men, that funded their own military organizations. Maybe it was a trend back in the day. The stock market was big for child militias. So... But anyway, we're not at war with the Galbadian Garden, we're at war with the Galbadian military, who presumably have taken over the Galbadian Garden, because there was no mention of that being blown up. We don't know that yet, but given what everything I've just said, you can probably assume that that's going to be a thing. I'm going to skip this because I keep getting copyright strikes from a different song. Thank you. Okay, other question. Wonderful. Many questions. They've tried to do... Again, I would love to sit down with a few people and just take the elements of this story and rewrite it into a proper, actually interesting political sort of thriller kind of thing, but with when it turns out, one of us is a sorceress and all that. Was Fly aware that we were given orders to brutally murder his wife? I don't know if he's aware of the assassination attempt that we did. But materially speaking, that won't matter for reasons that will become apparent in the not too distant future. Actually, no, he probably explains it during the meeting where he tells us that we're the lead in it. I guess there's no harm in knowing this at this point. It's complicated. Okay, so it turns out... I'll explain half of this and leave the other half as a mystery. It turns out that TM and Fly made these military schools for the purposes of stopping the sorceress, TM. That's the point of Seed. Seed are they're mercenaries and all that sort of stuff to earn money for Norg. But their ultimate purpose is to stop the sorceress, TM. So he knows that. He doesn't know that our ultimate goal is to do that. I honestly don't know. I don't think that's actually connected to the assassination attempt. It should be, but I don't think it is. So Yeah. Quite why the sorceress set up a military organization to stop her is at the moment not explained. But there is an explanation, and we'll get to that. Yeah. Arguably one of the most important pieces of lore in the game. But, you know, it's a Final Fantasy game, so obviously that's not relevant at all for the first half. Yeah, so, quick summary. TM and Headmaster Fly, Sorceress TM, Headmaster Fly, both married, set up 3 military organizations? At least 3. For the purposes of creating soldiers who would eventually go on to stop the sorceress from taking over the world. We don't know why the sorceress would do that yet. We don't think this is in some way explicitly connected with the assassination attempts on the sorceress that we were given from the Space Pancake. Define goog. Goog is the stuff that comes out of Norg's mouth. Is it a good explanation? Yes. Yes, for once it is a good explanation. Because it is essentially the backbone of the story of this game. You wouldn't know it up till now, but it is. It's the backbone of the last half of the story of this game, which turns out to be the entire story of the game, because the first half doesn't really matter. Remember, you died. First half, doesn't matter, that was living. Now we're in the dead world, where everything's mad and we're talking to Custard. So yeah, we eventually, having had this exposition, this scene does go on for a while. I remember mashing through it last time I played it. Eventually we attack Norg, because he tries to kill us. He's in this weird machine that... There is a gimmick to it, but I always stop it doing its gimmick, so I forget what it is. But we attack him. We also get a new Pokemon! I forgot, we get a new Pokemon! Yes. What sort of Pokemon do you think we get from Norg? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Because this is a boss fight. That's why I drew it. Also, because Norg! Yeah, no. A custard burb? I wish. Custard. Just custard in general. The horrible yellow thing from Trapdoor. Horrible custard monster. No, what we get is... You guessed it. By which I mean you didn't guess it. Why did I choose to do complicated swibbly thing? It's next time. Yeah. It's the great sea serpent Leviathan. Yes, that's our new Pokemon. It's got nice little wings. And it makes a nice waterfall when you summon it. It is Rayquaza, really, isn't it? If it turns out this is also a Cthulhu game, you swear to God. There's an element of that. I've never thought about it like that, but now I have. Oh, it's a great way of thinking about it. Oh. We'll get to that in like 2 streams. Anyway, for now though, It's the best part. Best part of the entire story. I love it. It's nuts. You're reading up on if Norg did finance all the gardens and you didn't anticipate how far this rabbit hole goes. Speaking of weird rabbit holes, here's a cool thing. When you kill Norg, rather than dying, because obviously Custard Monster can't die in a normal way. So what happens is Norg's body is surrounded by a weird stringy cocoon that glows. Now, if you come back here at a later point in the game, I'll say this now because there's no particular point in me remembering anything. You will find a couple of people here who you didn't see here before. By the way, this is the last time you see any of the cult people, so I'm assuming they left after you killed their leader. So goodbye, worm. Thank you for being here. Anyway, you meet some new people. They're slightly less blobby custard men. And they explain to you the life cycle of a Shumi. So the Shumi are the race of people from whom Norg comes. And apparently he was a bit he was not too popular in the Shumi tribe because of his avarice and greed and so on and so forth, but he was a powerful so-and-so. So powerful that he evolved into the form that he did, by which I mean big old custard blob monster. Because the Shumi people evolve as they get older, and they evolve to reflect their personalities and what they are destined to do and all these sorts of things. And there are... I think I'm right in saying there are 3 things that a Shumi can evolve into when they get to a certain age. One is custard. Second is big custard. What do you think the third is? They have very big hands. I want to stress just how big and weird their hands are. Yeah. Tiny custard? That is a sensible guess and as a consequence completely wrong. Nog financed the first garden, they used the proceeds to make the others. Oh, okay, interesting. It was the space potato? Was that the first one, I guess? Butterfly? No. This is not explicitly important to the story, but it is something that always stuck out to me as being... What? I'm sorry, what? Sorry, I should... these forms reflect the personalities of the Shumi as they get older. And Norg turned into that because of his ambition and power and greed and all of these sorts of things. And these, a lot of the Shumi, they're just quite nice and they like making things. They're like artisans and they do sculptures and make nice little Zen gardens and stuff like that. Potato is first. Cool. Golden custard. No. But if you are at one with nature and you are the right kind of temperament, you will evolve, the Shumi will evolve into the most honourable form that a Shumi can possibly evolve into. Now let's see if I can remember whereabouts I could find a picture of that. That might be one. That'll do. So the third form that the Shumi can evolve into are called Moombas. And they're little tiger friends. Tiger rabbit friends, who don't speak, but can occasionally speak like a word. Yeah. So you have custard, big custard, or tiger rabbit. They're your choices. Playing Pokemon, you just had a Diglett scratch you. How? I always thought that. I imagine they got like a very sharp foot that comes out of the floor. Yeah. So that's what these friends are. They're evolved custard. 3 natural stages of evolution. Absolutely. Yeah. Just thought you might like to know that these things are connected. I guess that is kind of relevant to something that comes up. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway. Exposition dump over. What do we do? I've just realised. Coincidence after coincidence. What do you think is the natural consequence of the space potato? Where is it? There it is, the space potato. Now floating onwards unstoppably and uncontrollably through the ocean. What do you think is eventually going to happen? There's claws. Have you not seen what they look like underground? I did a drawing of that once, didn't I? Did I keep that? Going to fall off the edge of the world? Can't fall off the edge of the world. The edge of the world is a donut. We have talked about this. The world of all Final Fantasy games prior to 10 are donuts. Was it here? I think it was in here, wasn't it? A while ago now. There we go. That's what they look like underground. When did we do this? Yeah, Ragdoll knows what I'm talking about. March last year. That was a while ago, wasn't it? Anyway. Topology. It's fun. Anyway. Or you could say that they're on the surface of a mug. So, what are we doing? So, things. No. Back when we used to draw together. I still have draw pile. You do it one day. Diglett. Hi, Plants. Diglett teeth. The coffee's kicked in. Diglett teeth. So, yeah. No, the natural consequence of us sailing across the ocean uncontrollably is that we crash into the only city built on the ocean. That's what we do. So, just so happen to be heading in the right direction, right towards a city built on the ocean. Who's driving this thing? Nobody. It's completely uncontrollable. That's kind of the problem. The city is sort of made out of like scraps of metal, and it's like up on stilts, I guess. There is this big bridge that sort of goes right across. It's like a bridge across the Atlantic or something. It's absolutely bloody huge. And then there's this big city here with a big old disc in the middle, like that. Do we meet Dabmas? He lives on the sea with his queen. We do meet the mayor of this city, so if you want to call the mayor of this city Dabmas, I'm not going to stop you. There's like lots of scaffolds. I always imagined that this city was sort of made out of scrap metal that just sort of floated there. Like a sort of city made of driftwood, but metal rather than driftwood. Oh, I've just realised what happens. Game, why are you game? There's that building sort of up on scaffolding. There's like a road that goes around it. Also on scaffolding. Probably goes up onto the bridge. Do you know, I think Fly's actually smarter than he looks. Or sounds. Because I've just realised he's the building he's been working in, he doesn't own, and he's just lost control of it, having found out that it moves. And has no ability to actually move it or whatever. So he's just like, you know what, I'm not going to take responsibility for this. You're in charge now, and then he runs away. Rather than waving, they all dab to greet each other. I wouldn't be surprised. People here are strange. Yesterday you dabbed suddenly and then immediately lost your balance. So some things don't change in this hell of a year. It's... yeah. Dabbing is an asymmetrical action. And as a consequence, balance is an issue. So yeah. Anyway, we just literally, we crash headfirst into this thing. Just completely smoosh the whole thing. Like that. Crash, crash, splash, splash. Ba-bang, ba-bang. And our first official edict as controller of the flying space potato. One must adopt a correct stance to dare. One must have a solid foundation. Solid base, wide stance. Yeah, our first edict as leader of this expedition is to go out and apologise to the people we just crashed into. So we do that. We step out into... this place is called Fisherman's Horizon, by the way, which is a lovely name. And luckily, most of the damage we caused was superficial, and the people here really like building things. So... which you would expect from a city made entirely of scraps of metal. Sounds like suddenly being in charge, yeah. Yeah, so we pop out and we apologise, and they say, "Don't worry, we can fix all this." We basically say, "Look, we don't know how to control this. We literally got it up and running, and then we couldn't stop it. We didn't mean to crash into here. This is not an act of war. It's fine." And they say, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll fix this up." And we say, "Do you mind popping into?" That's an extreme. It's quite the dab there. It's less of a dab and more of a smush. Yeah, so we say, "Do you mind, like, I know we've just crashed into your city, but do you mind maybe having a look at the big machine we just activated and maybe seeing if you can get that to work and how it works, and then teach us how it works so that we don't crash into more cities?" And they say, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So they go and do some fixing up of the space potato, and that's lovely. Anyway, and we go and see the mayor, because we've just crashed into his city. The least we can do is say hello. So we enter his house, which is in the middle of... where'd that colour come from? No way. His house is in the middle of a big dish of solar... I always took them to be solar panels, but they're also very shiny, so maybe they're mirrors that are focusing power into a central thing. You know what I mean? A solar array, that kind of thing. Either way, it's a big old disc full of mirrors, and I don't really know why. Anyway, his house is in the middle of that. And his house is also full of junk. There's lots of bits and bobs, things hanging from the ceiling and whatnot. Just some boxes. It's quite a small house. But he is sitting on a mat in the middle of the floor. He's an old man. Does he have hair? I don't know if he has hair. Anyway, this is Dabmas. I'm gonna give him a little bit of hair, largely receding. He's also wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Not done up. And he basically explains, you know, I understand you didn't come here to destroy our city, which is nice of you. But you are a military organization, and we here are peaceful people. We do not believe in conflict. As a consequence, it would be nice if you left as soon as the repairs were done. To which we say, sounds like a plan. Yeah, so they're very conflict averse. These the people of Fisherman's Horizon, or at the very least the mayor is. So I can only assume everybody else is as well. I think he's wearing sandals. His wife's also here. She's not important to the plot. This guy's barely important to the plot, but I'm not entirely sure what his inclusion is supposed to say. We'll get to that. She's the dabbing queen. Okay, I'll draw a dabbing. The xylophone in this track is quite something. The sort of thing I'd imagine to be in that End of Time and Space, or whatever. What was it called? Everything at the End of Time? So yeah, after a short visit to the Mayor Dabmas, Yeah. Basically, he says, look, we don't want conflict here. You're going to attract conflict, what with being a military school that is now moving. Presumably you were moving for a reason. That reason is probably conflict. So people are probably going to chase you here. So leave as soon as possible, and we can get back to our fishing. Simon basically demonstrates that he doesn't understand anything but conflict at this point by going, what's this guy's deal? Why does he, not want to be in fights? Honestly. Sounds like somebody doesn't understand the real world, etc., etc. So we go to leave, and as we go to leave, we hear people shouting in the distance. Oh no! Soldiers are attacking! Sure sounds like the type of guy you want in charge of anything. Yeah, I know. So yeah, we just walk up the ramp out of his solar panel house, and yeah, we hear people shouting that there are soldiers here and they're attacking. The mayor immediately comes out and goes, "See, this is your fault," and then walks off in the direction of the soldiers. This ends well for him, because he wishes to find a peaceful solution to this situation. So he gets picked up by the scruff of his Hawaiian shirt by a soldier, because he basically says, "Look, we do not wish to have any conflict here. There will be no conflict resolution. We will discuss this in a calm and civilized manner." To which the soldier goes, "You don't know what we're here for. We are here because we are looking for somebody. We're looking for somebody called Dishonored Jesse. Do you know anybody here called Dishonored Jesse?" This is the point where Crispy remembers that he forgot to tell you a bit of the story, but that will come as a secret next time. Haha. It's fine, it's just a small aside. It's been a while, yeah. I guess we can do things out of order. Yeah, there's no real problem. There should have been a small mention of Dishonored Jesse prior to this, but it's fine. How do you draw arms? Like that, kind of? Come on, program. There you get the idea. He gets pulled up by the scruff of the neck and thrown to the floor. Despite his protestations that they have never heard of a Dishonored Jesse and that there's nobody here by that name and they should leave peacefully, the soldier says, "It Doesn't matter. We literally have orders, regardless of whether or not we find what we're looking for, to completely burn this place to the ground. In fact, we have orders to burn literally everywhere we go to the ground. You are no exception. And he says, no, you can't do that. And then he's thrown to the floor. And then we come along and we fight the soldiers. Not only do we fight the soldiers, generally when you have a normal question about the whereabouts of a person, you don't pick people up by the scruff of their neck. Again, they're not here to do things subtly. So yeah, unfortunately for our purposes, they're not here alone. They have also bought some backup. It's a little shoddy, the backup, but nonetheless it is the thing that we need to fight. It's got like a gatling gun up front like that. It's a little broken here and there. Kind of like this. And there's a sort of hovering around on wheels, something like that. There's like a little thing in the front. Pretty sure these are broken as well. And then there's one back there like that. This thing is big, by the way. I was trying to do a perspective thing, but it failed. Here's a perspective thing. Here's a soldier. So yeah, it's this big old, slightly blown up, tanky looking thing. And when we fight this and when we defeat it, rather than blowing up, what it does is it falls in the water. And having fallen in the water, the people who are in it climb out. And who's in it? Who's in the thing? Who is in the... That's not a lasso. Give me a lasso. There we are. Who's in the thing? Is it Kyle? No. That's not how perspective works. Hang on. I know how to make perspective work. There we go. Good point. It's the missile base team, because that was the tank that we fought at the end of the missile base bit, the thing that was blocking the exit from the missile base. They got in it and they were safe because they were in it. So by coincidence, they managed to get the tank from that missile base, and then they travelled around the world, and they happened to turn up to where we turned up to, and they were still fighting us for some reason inside the broken tank. You know what I've said about asking questions. So yeah, they were in the tank. We're all back together again. Not to ask questions, yes. But Jive's here. Jive's fine. They're a bit wet. Definitely. Yeah, so everybody's back together. And we fended off the attack from the Galbadian army, who were apparently looking for Dishonored Jesse. So, yeah. The conclusion to Mayor Dabmas's story is that we go up to him while he's on the floor recovering from his wounds of being thrown to the floor as an old man, and we basically say to him, your ideas about being able to resolve things without conflict, they're very naive, you're an idiot. Sometimes you need to fight things, so fight, old man, you're stupid for trying to find a peaceful solution. And then we leave him on his own in the middle of a thing. And that's his entire arc. Anyway, all of our friends are back together. We now have a flying space potato. Hopefully the people at the Fisherman's Horizon will help us learn how to use it. Were they fighting us in the tank or hiding out in the tank that was fighting us? I don't know how a tank would fight you automatically. I guess it's an automatic thing, but then why would there be space inside it for people? I don't know. These things happen. Yeah. But anyway, we're all here. We're all together. You know, Cheery and Jive and Jenny and Velma and Simon and Pikachu and Jesse McCree and Jive again. We're all here. We're all together. And then Space Potato. Maybe they stowed away? Maybe stow away in something like that. Either way, we blew it up. We're all back together. We got a little bit of time to kill before we can get the Space Potato up and running and repaired and all that sort of stuff. And yeah. I'll leave you for a week to guess what it is we're going to do with that time. Oh, and the lamp. We still have the lamp. Another good friend. So, I hope that was a sufficient dose of surrealism for you today. There will be more next time. Yeah, there's going to be more next time. Next time comes The Thing. The Thing. I titled this stream something along the lines of, so, well, here we go, or whatever. That'll probably be... Next week is going to be, well, here we go again. You'll be sure to ask more questions. You will have so many questions next week. Oh, if you were ever going to have questions, next week is the week you will have questions. The Thing. Yes, The Thing. Best bit of writing ever. Also, slight connection to your Cthulhu idea. I never thought about it like that, but it honestly gives it a little more context if you think about it in those terms. We'll talk about that next week. It only gets weirder. It only gets weirder, but it just gets so much more incomprehensible from next week. I've said there will not be a normal stream of this for a while, so, and I did not lie. But before that, we've got to spend some time in Fisherman's Horizon, and that's going to be weird enough. What, that this is a Cthulhu game? Again, I've never thought about it in those terms, but there are elements of this story that do actually make sense if you view it in those terms. They make more sense anyway. They don't seem completely out of nowhere. So, yeah. Thank you everyone for coming along. Hope you had a good time. Hope this was a good start to your week. Kind of. It's Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on your time zone. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday or Thursday, depending on your time zone, we continue with the Hitmans. Did you solve FFVIII by saying that? Kind of. You could retool the main ending story of this game to be more about Cthulhu monsters, and it would make more sense. Yeah, anyway. We'll get to that. Things will simultaneously start coming together and fall apart. That's basically how this game goes. yeah, tomorrow, Hitmans. For those of you who are supporting me on Patreon, I posted a post yesterday saying that I set up a Discord for my updates for Patreon, because Patreon's update system is terrible, and I also get intimidating about sharing small works in progress in a proper Patreon post, so hopefully I can be a bit more regular about going, hey, here's the thing I'm working on, here's some doodles, here's some stuff, so on and so forth. Don't worry if you don't want to join or whatever, I will collate the things that are on there in like weekly updates on Patreon. But it's there if you want to use it. You can also, I will open it up once patrons are there, and I can sort out all the rooms and make sure that people can go to whatever they need to go to, but only if they have permission to do that and all that sort of stuff. I'll let other people join if they want to. But there will be rooms just for Patreon only stuff and all that. But the other thing is there's the video, which we were making assets for on Sunday. It's the Hitman Best Of video. Best of the first 4 streams. Anyway, I have almost finished part 2, which is the next 4 streams, which brings us right up to date. Yeah, I've been enjoying editing. Editing's fun. I like video editing. It's good. So yeah, if you wanna learn more about vaults and stuff. What's with my mic? Is my mic weird? Why is my mic going weird? Oh yeah. That is weird. What is that? I'm trying to do a plug. What is wrong with you? Better? No? Oh, that might be better. Cable might be busted. How dare. Anyway. I think that fixed it. To be fair, I have been using this mic cable for like 10 years. Frame man? Shush. Oh, it's a battle flute. So, yes. Thank you for the heads up. Yeah, so Hitman Best Of video for patrons. Discord, new Discord. I'll open that up. To general people, but patrons can go in there now and check out new stuff and works in progress and things and bits and bobs. Apologies that there's not a lot, because that's not a vault. Apologies. There is, I did remember, in Hitman 2 there is a vault. There is actually a vault in Hitman 2. So we may have to play that at some point. What was I saying? Yes, apologies that there's not going to be too many works in progress at the moment. I have a lot of commissions that I can't share the details of, so that's going to take up a bit of my time, but I will send you things that will be interesting, I hope, maybe, as time goes on. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I hope everybody's having a good time. Also, the other thing I was going to say is that my Patreon tiers are going to change this month, because this is the last month of this year's sort of support and all that. So I'm going to be changing it around. There's only going to be 2 tiers from now on. There's going to be, hey, you're supporting me for anything. Thanks. Here's all of the behind the scenes and advanced comics and all that sort of stuff. And then there's going to be a higher tier, I think at like 10 quid or $10 or something. Which will be, you get a doodle for an hour, and I'm hoping if people are alright with me doing that for their doodle, I will probably stream during the day me doing those doodles. So yeah, in order to hold me to account to do them in an hour, because you know me, I get carried away. Yeah, so things are changing. So people in lower tiers at the moment, they will get everything. Access to the Discord and all the behind the scenes and the works in progress and the early comics and early videos. I'm going to be doing more video stuff. I have a lot of plans for videos, like sort of art challengey things and design stuff and tips and tutorials and lots of bits and bobs. Hope people like them. But yeah, until then, I need to shut up and give you all a good Tuesday evening and or Wednesday morning to look forward to. thank you for putting up with my witterings. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves. Don't be like either Simon or Fly. That's, I think, my general piece of advice for the day. And I'll see you around. Have a good one. Bye.